All right. Welcome, everybody. My name is Stephanie Hayes. I'm the Executive Director for School Photographers of America, and I'm so excited to have all of you here today. Thank you so much for joining. I typically like to just kick off with a welcome, talk about a couple of upcoming things SPOA, and as you can imagine, everything SPOA right now is our summit, which is coming up in less than 2 weeks in Raleigh. We still have some tickets available, so it's not too late to join us. So yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. But I'm going to keep my piece short and sweet because you're not here to see me, you're here to see these guys. I want to go ahead and thank Airstudio for working with us on this and co-hosting this webinar. And I'm going to kick off
Yeah.
to Rebecca.
Hi, everybody. I am excited to be with you guys today. I am here with 20 years of experience in the industry as a school photography manager for a high volume company in the Midwest. I also work a lot with SPOA and I help Stephanie put this conference on. And I have a great connection here with Airstudio. They're one of our sponsors that has been with us from the beginning, and we're super excited to host this webinar today to talk about their software and how it can help save us. Before we jump right into the walkthrough, I wanted to frame this conversation so that everybody understands like how this can help school photography studios. So most studios are incredibly good at photography, client relationships, and getting through picture day. But as studios grow, the real challenge often becomes operations, scheduling teams, managing communication, tracking equipment, handling payroll, coordinating post-production, reducing no-shows, protecting revenue, and keeping everyone aligned across dozens or even hundreds of jobs at a time. Last year at the SPOER Summit, Airstudio had many conversations with attendees and kept track of all those studios' pain points. Comments like, we're using 5 or 6 different systems, spreadsheets, text threads, emails, and workarounds just to keep everything moving. And the reality is, every disconnect creates opportunities for error, lost revenue, wasted administrative time, and stress on the staff. What I'm excited about today is that this isn't just a software demo. You're going to hear directly from people actively running a high volume studio that use these workflows every day. They're going to share real world examples of where connected systems have helped reduce mistakes, improve communication, save time, and create more profitability across the business. So as we walk through Airstudio Park today, I'm encouraging everyone to think about your own studio and ask yourselves, where are we losing time? Where are things falling through the cracks? Where are we doing manual work that probably shouldn't be manual anymore? And where are the opportunities to operate more efficiently while creating a better experience for both your staff and your clients? So in this first section of the webinar, we are going to discuss staff scheduling made simplified. Peter is going to give us a great demo. And so Peter, one of the biggest pain points that we hear from studios is that scheduling becomes more of a full-time job during busy seasons. Text chains, missed emails, people showing up at the wrong location, or not showing up at all. From your perspective, running a real studio operation, what were some of the biggest scheduling headaches before using a connected system like Airstudio?
Thank you, Rebecca, and hello, everybody. You are correct. Scheduling can be a big headache, and when it is run in an integrated fashion, it changes everything. Scheduling is definitely what I would call the heart of Airstudio, where having an integrated platform becomes kind of the backbone of your scheduling and the guts of your organization. Scheduling includes so many variables. What are you photographing? What's expected of your staff? Who's supposed to be there? Where are they going? What equipment do they need? What time do they need to be there? And how much time will they also spend? What are your studio costs to performing any given assignments? With Airstudio and our integrated booking and scheduling combined with our phone apps, this allows a real seamless way to see what's happening and know what resources you have available, as well as being able to communicate in an automatic fashion. So all of those steps that I laid out are not like individual steps anymore. They're part of the integrated system. I'm going to open this up and just give you a quick walkthrough here. So as we're looking at that, with one quick glance, you can see pretty much everything. You can see what time you're supposed to be going somewhere, what you're doing, what organization you're doing, what are your resources that are available. Don't worry, I'll get into a little bit more detail. You can see it in different views. You can see job and work schedules. You can also see it in a calendar format versus as well a employee calendar to see who's working where. So an awful lot of good, powerful ways in which you can do things. So I hope even with that quick glance, you can see that it's more than just a calendar. So I'll dig a little bit more, but Rebecca, that kind of gives you that quick view. And then I don't know if you had any other questions you wanted to add here.
Of course I do. I'm full of questions, Peter. What changed once scheduling, staff assignments, notifications, and availability all lived in one place?
What changed is the fact that those list of applications that you were talking about at the beginning all can be combined into one. So as you go through here, and I'll get into a little bit more detail than the one I ran through quickly, you can see who's working there, different ways to view it, as well as automating things like those notifications. So you can add in here who is going to be doing any given job. Let me jump into one of these right now. As we go right into it, we can see with a quick click of your notifications, you can turn on notifications. Those can go out to your studio or out to your clients, as well as out to your staff. In addition to that, you've got the ability to change on the fly how many setups you're offering at any given time. You've got the ability of offering multiple different package options when you're going through. You've got notes that are shareable with your staff, as well as if you want, even with the organization. Hold on, let me get too many screens going here. Internal notes that can be shared with your staff. And if that, as well, if that wasn't enough, we also have an integrated chat system that you can communicate directly with not only your staff, but the people that are assigned to the jobs can also then show or communicate with each other with an automated channel created as soon as they text out to everybody that's on the job. On top of that, you can also get to the point where you can know not just what you're scheduling, but how much did that scheduling actually cost you? How much did the people, your assets, which are your staff, what are those costs? And did you really make money at some of those jobs? And that allows you the flexibility of doing it all in one place and dig really deep in making sure that everything is scheduled properly, everything is integrated through the whole system. I'll pass it back to you, Rebecca.
That is absolutely amazing. I'm super excited about the understanding of a school's profitability just in this system. It makes it really easy instead of having to run a bunch of sales reports. I'm excited. All right. So, Peter, booking software systems are usually treated as just a calendar, but studios are losing a surprising amount of revenue through missed opportunities, cancellations, manual flow follow up, or friction in the booking process. What were you seeing before implementing a more connected workflow?
What we were seeing is exactly what you outlined. Everybody was building things with all of these different silos, all of these different places where they were getting components of it. And you made a comment at the beginning that photography studios have become very good at doing and conducting their photo shoots, but all the elements before became that full-time job. With Airstudio, everything is in one place and allowing you to make a real seamless flow of everything with your job. So the big thing we've been seeing and hearing from studios that are running with these multiple applications is in order to take care of these critical elements of the job, scheduling, assignments, costing, as well as what happens when things change, having this under one roof with Airstudio allowed these elements to be integrated and connected. With what we call bookable jobs, where the end subject is booking their time with a selection of services, you can create a situation where not only do you allow revenues by offering pre-purchase packages or services in advance, You can have them automatically scheduled. It also creates the ability to reduce staff burdens by allowing customers to reschedule and change their appointments themselves. They can also deal with that annoying element where people change their minds and reschedule at the 11th hour. With Airstudio, I'm going to just move through here as well. With Airstudio, you have the ability to add in charges that are seamless, that people make decisions in advance or can see in advance. All right, if I don't show up, I'm going to get charged this fee. And in the past, that became an element of friction, whereas with Airstudio, it is not. A, they agree to it when they book, and B, the charging of it is automated, as well as you can build in cancellation policies in if they reach or if they change in the last minute or with it, whatever you, the studio, decides is your line in the sand. As well, you can do that and add in a charge for it. In addition, you can even build in resit or retake policies where certain reasons for these things are charged and certain reasons are not, allowing this to happen without any staff intervention. We've seen some of our larger studios have dramatic amounts of additional revenues for really nothing but streamlining. So not only do they book the jobs cleaner, but they're also making money off it at the end. I'll pass it back to you, Rebecca.
That's really exciting. I know that this would help the studio that I work for immensely. So tell me a little bit, how did things change for clients once they could self-book, receive automated communication, and move through a more guided process?
Sounds good. I'm going to share a little story regarding what I ran with my little studio up in Canada, utilizing that ability to have the self-guided booking as well as to pre-sell larger packages, in this instance as to seniors. So the simple element of adding a pre-purchase of digital images, that's all I did. Okay. I went from something that was available through our e-commerce system after photography. It was about a $200 package where they could purchase all their digital images. We sold, I think, 12 to 15 of them in this one group. Again, I'm a smaller studio, but this is a group of 500 seniors. The first year, they sold 12 to 15 packages of that. In year two, we added this as a pre-purchase. So they could buy this when they booked their session, $200, and we included the session for free. So a discount that really didn't cost us anything. We went from that 12 to 15 orders to well over 130, delivering well over 200,000 or 20,000, 200 would be better, 20,000 in additional revenues with minimal additional work attached to it. And the other beauty of it, now that this is run through a whole season, we saw no reduction. In fact, we did actually see an increase in package sales after the fact. And that's my example. We've shared that with a bunch of people, and a few of them have done it independently and tried it on their own. And we're seeing that 20 to 30% increase in revenues just from simple little items like that. So
That's amazing. That's a wow moment right there.
yeah.
Can you talk about a few ways that better booking workflows actually helped increase the revenue or protect revenue that might have otherwise been lost?
For sure. Being able to have the bookings, the booking sequence all automated. You'll see here, I've got a list of some of the different sessions that are made available. You can decorate them up with lots of sample photos. You get a nice carousel of them, give them information of it. You can charge, you can have both charged and non-charged sessions. And again, going back to what we talked about at the beginning with automated notifications, you can also have that communication with the end client all the way through the process. And Airstudio equips you with a huge number of templates that you can simply adjust and edit, and both for internal and external. But through this booking process, it streamlines it and it allows your customers to come back in and change their appointments if they need to. So it doesn't become a laborious thing for your staff to handle. It becomes a simple thing and makes the whole process positive for not just your staff, but your clients as well. Pass it back to you.
Everything you're saying is like a studio's dream. So,
We'd like to
um,
think so.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much, Peter, for all the information and demos that you provided. I know that it's really exciting for anybody watching right now. They're probably tapping at their keyboard, trying to make an appointment with you guys as we speak. We are going to shift gears and move on to Scott. He's going to tell us all about equipment and job tools and photographer workflow. One thing that I know many studios struggle with is keeping field operations organized once picture day actually starts. So equipment will get misplaced, photographers miss details, communication happens across, who knows, 5 different places. And what operational challenges were you seeing before everything became connected in one place?
The tricks are not having the right equipment on jobs, not knowing what photographers have, what pieces of equipment, maintenance items. I mean, I think, following up on some of Peter's thoughts, the whole core of what we're trying to do is increase organization, reduce costs, and drive revenue to the bottom line. And that's each piece of it does it in its own way. And then the component where you can job cost events is the key piece to it. From the equipment side, it manages studios have a lot of money invested in these in stuff, lights, cameras,
Yes, we do.
backgrounds. Knowing where it is at any given moment, you can just, with a click, see where it is, who has it, what job it's on, what job it has worked on, how it's being maintained, how it's being used. You can see if one photographer is submitting a lot of repairs, you can track that. Basically, the platform, you can track every item that you own, basically. So we have item types are the different types of things you might own. So Canon 24 to 105s. Bag types would be collections of those items. So here's a camera bag. It has a couple of camera bodies, a lens, camera, more batteries, chargers. It can also track inventory of batteries. For instance, if you have 50 batteries come in, as you start throwing them into bags, it will give you a flag when you're down to 10. Items are every piece of equipment you could own. As you start building bags, they'll all come in here and show up. So these are all individual items that are owned. And then bags are often, I've got some studios that issue just items to people. Most are issuing bags to somebody. So let's say Charlotte has this background kit right now. All of those items or individual items or bags can be tagged with a little label. We have one that's small enough to go on a little lens. It's a teeny little label, as small as we could possibly get it to have a QR code reader. And then the other goes on a luggage tag. And that's all. You could just download and print all those. The beauty of it also is that beyond having equipment and knowing at any point, let's say I go to Charlotte here, I think, or Cassie Ridman. I think I put it in Cassie. If I go to Cassie's profile, I can see that these are the equipment bags that Cassie has in her car. She's been issued these, tells me when they've been issued, exactly what's in that bag. So she's got camera bag 1. These are the specific bodies that are in there. And if I go to a job, which is actually the most important piece to me, they're all important, but this one, once you're in a job, you can say, what do you need on that job? So on this job, I need a background kit, I need a camera bag, and I need a light kit. Once I put a photographer on there, let's say I put Cassie on here and assign her, the system knows that Cassie has these items in her bag. So now it's saying that it needs one and it has one, and it needs a light kit and it has one. What it's telling me now is that if I'm the equipment person, I need to issue a background kit because she doesn't have one in her trunk. Planning what you need on every job, being able to manage it easily, and also utilize know what assets are in play, what's broken, what's not broken, who has what equipment, pulling it all into one platform, creating less mistakes, more control of what you're doing, and better utilization of those assets. I mean, if something in our case, if we do test shots before every job, they all get synced in and looked at the beginning of each job. If there's a problem with one of those cameras, we know exactly who has it, where it's been, and how to pull it immediately so that you don't spend a lot of money on out of focus pictures or whatever it happens to be. It is a huge level of control. Basically, it's an enterprise level equipment management system that's available to every studio of any size if you're using our platform.
Are you able to set your system up to not show you photographers to book on the assignment that aren't equipped so that you don't accidentally book a photographer on an assignment and then you don't have a background kit to give that person who's missing one?
If you go to a job, let's say I was on this one. If you're assigning somebody without it, it does not give you a flag. What it does do is allow you to show equipment here as you're assigning people, and it will tell you what each person has.
Yeah, I mean, at least you can see what it is that they do have, so you know if you shouldn't
Yeah.
put them on the job. Or you can
Yes.
look in your inventory, which you have available to see, and know immediately if you have what they need.
Well, and the
Yes.
beauty too is it shows conflicts in other regards too. If there's other booking conflicts and things along that, it'll notify you. But one of the nice parts of it is it allows you to carry through, and I think anybody who is scheduling studios has had this, where it doesn't stop you in your tracks if there is a conflict. It allows you to continue at the booking and then resolve any kind of conflict, equipment or scheduling after the job is there when you have a complete picture of what you've needed.
Right. And the way that the workflow is in our operation with, I don't know, 40, 50 photographers is that the equipment manager prints a report out of what jobs are missing items, basically. So at the end, everybody's been assigned, and often generally for us, those assignments have to do with the capabilities of the person and not what they have in their trunk. Although we like to have everything in everybody's trunk, but that manager then goes through and is issuing the stuff that's missing for the week. So he's looking at this job and his report says they need a background kit. Then he can go and just issue that to whoever he wants to on that job. Issuing equipment allows them, if you issue something to somebody, it'll send them an email immediately automatically saying this has been issued to you for this job. It'll tell you what bin it is in the equipment room. It also can print this tag, which tells that person what's in the bag and the types and the actual items in that bag. This piece of paper is actually designed to be folded and stapled around that bag so that it has the person's name big on it. So when they go in there, they see it and they pick up the right bag.
Wow. I'm very impressed right now. All right. So, how has having all of these job details, the notes, the files, the assignments, and the communication tied directly to all of these jobs changed things for your specific team, and the people who work in the field?
It's done a lot of things. I would say the main thing it does is it just is an automated communication system between the chat system that's built in, all of the phone app that has all the information on the app for them. We have many, many fewer people not knowing where they're supposed to be or missing jobs altogether because it's pinging them before a job. We have it set up to send an email 3 days before, I think, and a day before. It also sends them a text, I believe, the day before. It also pings them on the phone app directly with where they're supposed to be and when they're supposed to be there. It's really been a long time since we've had somebody, I can't actually remember we've had somebody not show up to a job. With the chat system, you can also create groups for a job. If I go to this particular job, if it's got 3 people on it, I can create a chat here and it's going to create, oh, it's already got it in there. I must have already made that chat. It'll create a channel of everybody related to that job, from the job manager to the photographers, salespeople involved, they will have a group in here. Um, oh, it's this one right here. That's that job. Created that channel already. So it's basically reduced mistakes for us, which
Sounds like it
saves
will
money. It saves
yes.
money.
And
Less
headaches.
mistakes is more money.
Yes. And, retention of your clients too, because you can't have
Yes,
a photographer showing up without what they
right.
need. So,
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
oh my
And you don't
gosh,
want,
thank you
yeah,
for that.
for all over you're working all over the Midwest. You are as we are, sending somebody out on a 4 hour round trip to bring a background or a stand is expensive. Or that one little clip that's missing.
Right. All right. Well, very good. Thank you so much for that.
Sure. Thank you.
We are going to switch to Angie. She is going to tell us all about post-production workflow and task management. So, Angie, post-production is one of those areas where studios often rely on spreadsheets, sticky notes, emails, or people just having to remember what comes next. Where were the biggest bottlenecks or breakdowns happening before you had structured workflows?
Yes. So I've been in the industry for a long time, and our legacy system that we used a while when I started was basically printing a piece of paper for every step and task that had to deal with a picture day. So everything, and honestly, it was just not a great system for two main reasons. One, you had a stack of papers that was huge, and you had to keep it organized. And if you lose one of those sheets of paper, you're missing a step in your process. B, if your photo date changes, you have to go back and pull all of those tickets out, change the dates, and then resort them in the order that they are. So that system, speaking of headaches, was a huge headache. We did eventually switch to a total digital system. Everything was online. What ended up happening though was that all of that system was configured more for emails. So like if a task was coming up and it was going to be due, it's going to send an email. Or if a task was overdue, it's sending an email. So that just overloaded our employees' emails with too much, and they just started to ignore it. So honestly, just not a great system. We have been using Airstudio for a while now to manage our tasks and workflow, and I'm really excited to show this today because we've also had a lot of updates to this recently. Um, so I'm going to go ahead and show you all how this has been working. We sort of the first place I recommend starting. You can manage your employees in Airstudio, their roles that are attached to them, pay rates, all of that good stuff. We have groups now as well. So for groups, I think that they are an important part of tasks, especially so you can have different departments and assign different people. You can assign multiple people to these groups. So if you have a task that is for your digital team, you can add one person, you can add multiple people. Sort of the reason we have this set up is if Carmen is going to leave the company for some reason, I can easily add a new person to the group, and any of those tasks that were assigned to the digital team, to Carmen, now get reassigned to the new person. So honestly, I think setting up groups has been a huge, powerful tool for Airstudio and the task management. Not necessary, but sort of a safeguard for when changes happen. In our industry, that happens a lot. Um, the next place that we sort of recommend people start is by building your templates. So we call these collection templates in Airstudio. You're basically building out a group of steps that you normally would do for various job types. So in this demo environment here, I have all of the steps that I would do for a dance photo day or a graduation, or if I'm just doing groups, senior portraits, sports leagues. We've got these all built out. So these are templates that we would later attach to jobs. And then our production team, our marketing team, everybody is following the same system for every type of these types of jobs. Um, to show you a little bit how these are built, you can attach them to a job, which means when you're creating and adding these tasks, you're going to say it's due 15 days before that job date. So again, like if your job date changes, it resets all of those dates for all of those tasks for you, just totally automated in the system. But you'll give your task a name. You can assign it then to your group, which automatically attaches the person who is included in that group. You can preset a specific status. So if you notice here, like some of these statuses are actually on hold because this person can't do this task until this task is done. So Airstudio has sort of built-in automations that you can set or dependencies. So if I'm in this task here, we call these state transitions. So you've got your first task is requesting data. Once that task is marked as complete, it sets the status of your next task to do. So your staff are following like only the tasks that they have to do, and they know if something is on hold or waiting for somebody else, they can actually check on that and manage that through the task system here. And then we do also have this beautiful dashboard, which just helps you track and hold accountability to your staff. So the first kind of view that it defaults to is going to just tell you total tasks, and you can set this by week, by day, by month, year. And you're seeing all of your employees and tasks for the week that they've completed, like just numbers, tasks that may be overdue, and upcoming tasks. So just kind of like a quick look where we're at right now. I think for accountability, you can see very easily if somebody's got a lot of overdue tasks. We may need to check in with Anna. We may need to see if she needs support in handling her workload. If we do, and then we can easily look like, what does she have on her plate? Oh, well, she's collecting data, which we know is a nightmare. So everything she has to do is currently in progress. She's probably reaching out to the schools to get that data. So, but definitely we can reach out and assist if possible. There is another option here to view as sort of an admin or somebody who's overseeing operations. I think this is a great view. It really is showing you everything that is due for your company and all the jobs in the order that they're due, who they're assigned to. Like this is the job date, this is the date that the task is due. You get a little alert if it's overdue. And you can see what jobs they're connected to, also organizations. And here you can see that task collection name. So honestly, all of these pieces sort of become options and ways that you can filter this list view. So I can see if I want to filter to a specific person and only see tasks that are assigned to Anna. I can easily do this and filter in this way. And I can get rid of due dates, like you can set a date range if you want, or you can see everything that's here. Also, so you're seeing those sort of different status options. I can sort by status. So I can see if I only want to see statuses that are due, very quick and easy to do that in this list view here. So then just showing you how these are applied to jobs themselves. If I do click on into this job, so once you create the job, you attach the collection and you can then customize it. So you can put in specific notes for this school. You can put in a contact at the school who you're going to reach out to. Once it's attached to a job, it's fully customizable and connected straight to that job. So you can see the status if you click into the job there. You can also, I think this is a great option here. If you want to work efficiently, we all know if you do the same task over and over again, you're probably working pretty efficiently. So you can search by a specific task. I want to see maybe just all jobs that need to be uploaded, I just start typing in that task name and boom, I can see who it's assigned to. And if I'm this person, I can just grab these jobs and upload them if they're ready for that. Honestly, these should be ready because they're all marked as to do. This one is still on hold here. So many capabilities and functionalities, I think, in this task system and workflow with Airstudio here.
Angie, I have two follow-up questions for your presentation here. How often are the people who are tasked with to-do items notified when they have a list of things to do? Like, does it do it daily, weekly? Can you set it to different time frames?
So I think what happened with the last system we used, where just tons of emails were going out, we wanted to avoid that. We really, the idea we're hoping for is you train your staff to log in daily and review their own to-do list. It does, you can set it up to trigger a notification if it's overdue. I think there's various options you can set up within the notifications. Like here is where I can toggle it on to send if it's overdue, or I can toggle it on if there's an update on this task. So a lot of options are available. It's kind of how you want to set it and your preferences of how many emails you want to be sending out.
That's really nice that like any company can decide how often they want their staff to receive the notifications. My second question was on the chat, and if all of these notifications, you guys said that there was so many emails going out that people stopped paying attention. What platform does your chat use to communicate with your staff?
It's really just it's fully just built into Airstudio. We're using this to communicate with our staff. You can send direct messages to anybody in the company.
Okay.
If I want to send out to Anna and say, "Hey, do you need help with data? Can we help you with this?" And then it's going to ping her right away. So
Okay,
you
so
can
it's all internal.
it's all internal. Yes, it's all built in here. You can also you can send an email to her through here. This notification system down here. You're selecting which template you kind of pre-build these templates, and you can have them very standardized or connected to the task itself, and various. It'll link back to that. This one is not set up yet, but you can just push out emails through this system as well if you prefer
Okay.
email.
Thank you. That's really helpful. Thank you for clearing
Mhm.
that up.
Yeah.
The chat also pings on this through the phone app. So if you're pinging somebody, it'll ping them in the web, and it'll also beep their phone app.
Okay. So that was maybe what I was missing, is that you guys actually have an app that this is on people's phones.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Okay. Um, how did connected task management and workflow stages help create more visibility and consistency for your team?
Honestly, it's really just having it all in one place and then having it attached and connected to jobs. Like you can actually create these templates for anything. Like you can do it to do your prospecting on schools, or if you want to track contracts and check-in dates and booking your dates. Like there's so many different pieces you can attach tasks to, but having it all in one place, the ability to apply the filters, work efficiently. We just feel like having it all here is just very powerful and beneficial to your business.
You can also track on that dashboard. She showed the employee tab, but you can say if you want to see how any given job is doing, or let's say how you want to see how an organization is doing. You can click on a job and immediately it'll show you the status. You can click on any of those and see what's overdue for that job. You can also do that for an organization, which is super helpful for salespeople too. You're getting a call from a school, they say, "When's our job coming in?" You can say, "Oh, well, it should be shipped tomorrow." Or you'll get the link for your export in the morning. It's all right there, and saves tons of time. They don't have to call anybody or email anybody. It's available to everybody.
Less emails.
Less emails,
Yes.
faster, less money
Yes.
spent.
No, it's amazing that everybody has the access to just look it up themselves, so that they don't need to bother, everybody and anybody. And we all know that some of the people that we have work for us tend to get ready for their job in the middle of the night. So, so Angie, I would love to know more about how this system tracks time and helps you do payroll. Payroll is one of those things that every studio has to do. I mean, we have to pay the people who work for us. But it can become incredibly time consuming when hours are tracked manually or spread across multiple systems. What challenges did you experience before integrating your time tracking into operations?
Sure. So when I first got into the mix of timesheets and payroll tracking, I noticed very quickly that there were a ton of errors. Maybe not always intentional, preferably not intentional, but people just forget. They forget to clock out, and they either forget to fix it themselves or they forget to send you a note. So at the end of the day, that becomes like a lot of extra costs that you're somewhat throwing out the door because they're not doing what they're not following the shift time and the schedules that you've put in place for your staff, or maybe you don't have those reminders set up for them to be clocking in and clocking out. um, we used to have our staff fill out a form, like they just after the job within 24 hours you had to complete a form and you had to put in your job date and your hours, your start and your end time. And like the rule was you had to do it within 24 hours, but most people waited until the last day of the pay period. And then we also had people who would submit pay reports like a month later. So it's taking tons of time. You have to go back and you have to track it and make sure they actually didn't submit that time card already. So, I mean, we've used various systems. We did go to like a mobile app as well, which generally worked much better. People could clock in and out while on the job itself. So we could track it much better. But then just when it came to checking, if things were correct, which is important for us. We want to make sure that that there's not those errors happening. So it just became very time consuming to have to like look at the schedule, look at their time cards, and just match them up to make sure that those errors weren't happening.
So then how does tying time tracking directly through scheduling and jobs improve the accuracy and reduce an admin's workload?
Yes. So I love using Airstudio for timesheets. Photographers and other in-field staff. So our mobile app is specifically designed for your in-field staff so that they can look at their jobs. They can see their notes. They can see their contacts. They can clock in and out with the mobile app. So it becomes very easy. If they're assigned to a job, they click on the job, they're clocked in for the day. At the end of the day, they're clocked out. Push notifications are going out to them. Hey, did you forget to clock in? Did you forget to clock out? And they will go out on repeat until that person has clocked in or out for the day. And employees can even request time off. I think that is going to be released very, very soon for everybody. But so once you're actually looking and you're tracking your time cards, we've got various time tracking. I've run 1 week here. Depending on however you do it, you can again run daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. I think we're going to add a custom date range soon, but you can very quickly see your photographers who have clocked in and out for a job. So I've got my job name, I've got the role that they were assigned. This is showing their clock in and out, and this is showing what their shift time actually was. So it does actually create an alert if they are clocking in too early or they're clocking it out too late. So you can actually see very quickly, if there's no alerts, that means everything is good and you really shouldn't even have to pay attention to it. But these ones with the alerts, maybe you want to take an extra look at those and make sure you know why they might have clocked out so late. If this job ended at 12:30, they clocked out at 1:30, well, why? And they can leave notes like the last subject came in after the setup was torn down already. That makes sense. That does happen. So, we understand situations like that. But again, even your office staff, if they're working 9 to 4, you've got full total hours here, you've got total pay. So you're definitely tracking your staffing costs. All again in Airstudio, including your expenses if they're paying for parking or travel. All of that is available through that mobile app and also through the web app as well. Um, so when it comes time to run your payroll, so first of all, only admins can see dollar amounts. Nobody else sees that. And we can see also like full reports. So I can see if I run a pay report, how many hours were worked, how many, what's like the photographer pay, what are the expenses, those little added extras on the job, and then your total. And then all of your reports will live here and you can easily run a new time card report at any time. So I'm going to go ahead and run one for last week. You can filter. There's a lot of filtering in Airstudio, so you can filter by a specific employee. If you just hit save, you're actually just running that report for everybody, and it's going to produce that right here for you. So now I've got my total hours for last week and my total pay, and I can open this up and I can start reviewing these if I need to and just double check. Once everything, and then I can also make changes. If this one didn't leave a note and I reached out and they said, oh, they forgot to clock out. So I can now change this to 8 o'clock, hit save, and it's fixed right here. At the end here, you can approve these. Once you approve timesheets, employees actually get that report in their reports tab also. So if an employee is logging in, they go to their reports tab, they can go back and look at all of their reports. That's going to show them their total pay. For somebody who's helping process payroll, you can run your own reports. So I can do a full report, which will give me all the employees grouped together with their total hours, their total pay, total expenses. I can also download just the totals if I don't need to see all the details. I just want, again, those totals. So I'll show you what these both look like here. Oh, let's come up. So this is just the totals only. So you've got one row per employee showing you the average rate, the hours. You can do rounded hours too. If you do like a minimum hourly, like 2 hours, it will round them up. Total pay and then expenses involved there as well. And then we also have our other report that's going to show us everybody kind of grouped together here. So very clean. We think reporting systems available right now that are very helpful for anybody who helps to manage the pay reports.
Very nice.
It also then, because it's all through Airstudio, then it's all tying all of those pay to specific jobs. So if you want to know how much you spent on a job, you can pull it all in from here, the reporting system.
You guys really did merge so many different pieces of software that companies would have to utilize to learn all of this information all into one spot. Angie, I had a personal question here about my role. If my company is trying to make sure that we're not scheduling photographers with too much overtime in any given pay week, how does your system provide some type of alert that a photographer has maybe been scheduled on, X number of hours so that oh, if I continue to schedule this person, they're now going to be receiving overtime?
You can run sort of, I think one of the nice thing about scheduling your staff with Airstudio is that you can just kind of play around and you can add your staff. The status is pending. So as you're kind of moving things around and making sure this giant puzzle fits together, everyone's sort of pending. And if somebody is already on another job, it gives you a little alert. So there's a lot of tools available for whoever is scheduling. Once you have your schedule set, you can mark all of those as confirmed. But there is an option you can run a report. You want to see total hours. Really in a quick view, like you can do this. Like you can run your week and you see all of your employees. And if somebody doesn't have hours or somebody has too many hours, it gives you a report here that you can also download. I think that is a good, useful tool for tracking employee hours. You can also double check this employee calendar view and you can see, oh, I scheduled that person 5 days in a row. Like maybe you don't want to do that. So this might be another useful tool in helping make sure people aren't overstaffed or working too many hours in a single week.
This is amazing just for the fact that you can see where your holes are too. So if somebody is scheduled 5 days a week and you want to give somebody else more hours, you can see where other people aren't scheduled and some people are overscheduled. So
Yep.
This is beautiful. I like calendars. Excellent. All right. I'm not 100% sure who will answer this question from our group. We had a couple Q&As during your guys' session. So one of the questions was from the audience that they know that, I'll just read it. I know a lot of this webinar is about saving or generating money. With that in mind, how does your fee system work? And do you guys take a percentage of the sales collected through Airstudio?
Good. I'll answer that one. Our fee structure is based on users. Your users are your staff or your team, not the schools that are logging in or your customers. So, and it's also floating. So as we work in a seasonal business, you can float the costs based on your user, your team growing and shrinking during the different seasons. We're also happy to put together an equalized one through the year. So that's something that you can just talk to me about as we're going through. And do we take a percentage of sales? Now, this is a really key element, especially with what I had outlined earlier on with additional revenues coming straight through Airstudio. No, we do not take a rake of your sales or anything that you process through Airstudio.
All right. We have another question from the audience. And I think this is probably going to be directed towards Angie. This was based on the conversation that we just got done having. Does the payroll and scheduling system, does it show and sort overtime? And overtime meaning like 12 hours a day?
So this was not necessarily on our radar, but it has become on our radar recently. And it's been a high priority push to our dev team. So we expect to have some overtime configurations available within the next couple of weeks here. Not
Yeah,
currently available, but it will be.
and we're also, that particular on the radar is from California, so it's going to have some of those California specific requirements.
I was going to ask. Yeah, there's the whole like 7 days of rest or 1 day of rest and 7 days in
Yes.
Illinois. I think Wisconsin has some different laws about the days of rest.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that that can be built in. But yeah, I didn't realize that that they had to pay overtime if it was more than 12 hours a day in California. That's awesome.
That's always the challenge, is that every
Yeah.
region is done slightly differently. But even some of the Californian ones we've already built in that can be utilized in scheduling, not even just talking about payroll, but by building in buffers to the way that you expose the jobs and the available time slots to the clients.
Yeah, and I mean, you have to make considerations for it's not even just about photo hours. You have to consider drive time,
Yeah,
anything else that they get paid for, setup, breakdown, any like uploading images at home. So so the payroll, not the payroll, sorry, the scheduling software would almost have to indicate like you'd have to set your own threshold
you do. And
based
that's
on what
where
your company pays.
exactly. And that's where the customization available within Airstudio is very powerful. And we're always building, like Angie mentioned. We found with the thing with overtime and some of the different requirements or things that need to be tracked, it's like, all right, well, let's get to work and we'll add that in.
Yeah, like I said, that like when I read that question, I was like, this is amazing because it's nice that you guys can adjust for different regions and different states and all the legalities that go along with paying people. Um, all right, so we had another question from the audience. How does the onboarding work, and how long should a company expect it to take before they're up and running if they choose Airstudio as their service?
I'll take that one. It depends on where you go into the platform, and we really recommend you take a path in. We've got some customers who use only the equipment module. I've got some other, and then build from there. We've got a customer who uses only the school portal, which we didn't talk about, but there's a whole school portal, file sharing, e-signing system. Most studios go in through staff scheduling because that's really seems like that's what people want most. We work with you to import your first set of data. We can import from any platform, and how long specifically. It kind of depends on what kind of effort you put in to make it happen. I think you could expect to be up and running in, depending on the studio size, 2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, I've seen some get up and running with active jobs in a very short period of time. But
Yeah.
as I think you saw from even the demo that we went through today, there's a lot of facets to Airstudio. It's a robust system. So you do need to consider that you're bringing us on as part of the backbone of your studio. So build in some time. There is a learning
Yeah.
curve. We help you through it, but you do have to take some time in order to really learn and be able to implement the system.
Yeah, I mean, we do provide us whatever support people want, and we're available, and you can book meetings with us. We do a lot of, as I said, we'll do a lot of the import and original setup to help just speed that process. So when you go in, you've got your employees, you've got your organizations, it's all in there, you've got your jobs, but there's a bit of a learning curve. It's essentially an enterprise piece of software. It'll handle companies with 1,000 employees or three.
As far as integration goes, is it more of a manual process, would you say, to get all of a company's accounts and employees and how much they get paid and all of that into the system? Or are there like spreadsheets that you recommend that people have ready to upload into the system?
We have a partner here back who we import it all. So especially that first round, we pull it all in for you. Spreadsheets is generally what's happening, but he'll help design how to get it, what he needs. He'll look at what you send. Basically, we want you to send everything you've got, and then he'll look at it and say, okay, this is, we'll arrange it this way and get it in and send it back. Are you sure this is how you want it? And then we go, boom, pull it all in.
Yeah, there's some customer-based import tools within the system that you can use on an ongoing basis, but especially with that initial onboarding, getting all your organizations, all your staff, all those details in the first time, we really want to help handhold through to make sure that you're starting
Yeah.
with a great starting line.
Any last words from anybody?
I just want to say the other cool thing is that it's become sort of a sounding board for our clients because somebody will say, you know what, I need overtime in California. And then all of a sudden that's available to everybody. Or I need this particular type of pitch for my bookings. And then everybody can kind of use that all over the nation. So it's fun. It's like it's a collaboration among everybody.
So all of you that are on this demo or on this webinar, thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to send out probably tomorrow, as soon as we get the recording all done, an ability or a link to book a demo with me in case you want to have a personalized demo and really go through and dig into the system. It will, as I said, include a webinar recording. And if there are any additional questions, you'll have my email and you can reach back out to me directly. And we would love to help you and we'd love to get to know your studio and work with you.
Like I said before, it sounds like a photo company's dream. I want to extend a huge thank you to Airstudio for this fantastic webinar. You've given us a lot of information about how your software can save our companies and make us all enjoy our jobs more. So thank you for that. And we'll hear from Airstudio more in person at the School Photographers of America Summit, which is happening in 10 days in Raleigh. So be there. We'll see you all there. And I want to everybody have a great rest of your week.